David Muir.
Good afternoon, and we come back on the air at this hour because we have late developments after that horrific and deadly terror attack in Barcelona. We want to show you the area that we're talking about for those of you who are just joining us on this story. It's the historic part of Barcelona called Las Ramblas. That's a district where there is shopping, a very common place for tourists visiting that city. And here's the latest at this hour. We now know 13 people have been killed, at least 50 injured, likely many more. We do know also one suspect is in custody at this hour. We also have an image of the person who rented the van. There's been a lot of talk about that white van. You saw a flash of it a moment ago. This is the man who authorities believe rented that van, and this is the van obviously in the aftermath. They have now named the man who rented the van Driss Alcubir. We do know at this hour there's been one arrest. What they have not confirmed is whether or not this is the man who's actually been arrested. We continue to work that part of the story. But it was just a horrific scene when that white van turned from an avenue off the side of Las Ramblas, jumped up onto a sidewalk, and then began to plow down the people who were in that Las Ramblas district, swerving from side to side. Witnesses describing just a horrific scene. The pictures that are on social media and that have really been seen by millions all over the world already have just been difficult, to say the least, to look at. You can see families out there, parents and their children. There were witnesses who described parents screaming, running, trying to get out of the way. You can see the front end of the van is completely smashed. And it's believed that that van was traveling at high rates of speed, up to 50 miles per hour. And when you think about the number of people who were in that shopping district, if you think of locations here in America, Times Square here in New York City, it's very similar to that, a very common place for tourists to visit. They likely had very little warning to try to get out of the way of that van. They have cleared the area. That district has been cleared at this hour. There had been early reports that authorities were concerned there might be hostages nearby. That report has been knocked down, but they do continue to search. And what we don't know at this hour is whether or not there is more than one suspect that we're dealing with. We know authorities have said one suspect under arrest. We are treating the man as a terrorist. We did hear from a witness on the scene. His name is Brendan Sissing, who described the horror that played out in Barcelona. Let's listen.
Seconds after it shut the taxi door, heard screams of people sort of up to my left. And when I looked up, saw the white van, and it must have been doing sort of 100 kilometers, 80 to 100 kilometers an hour down a pedestrian sort of walkway, and just sort of just knocking people over at high speed. And there were people under the van. He just kept going, and so he kind of stopped opposite to where I was standing, which is sort of and then just kept going again. So the van had stopped probably from the impact of the people, of hitting all the people, and then kept going. At which point we realized that it was, quite a dangerous situation, and kind of ran towards one of the open stores where these guys took us in and shut their shutters down. I'm just standing on the corner of one of the main roads and La Rambla, and every single block has got two policemen on it. So the city's on lockdown at the moment. It's pretty intense. I mean, the city's pretty tense right now, so everybody's kind of walking around. I mean, there's still a bunch of people going about their business, but all the shops, all the shutters are shut down. Everybody's kind of sitting around on the corners, and just everybody's pretty tense at the moment. And when the second, sort of an hour after it happened, there were a bunch of gunshots as well, and everybody started running again. And so I think everybody's just pretty tense right now.
That's Brendan Sissing, a witness who was describing the scene that played out at Las Ramblas, that district in Barcelona. So common for people traveling to that country, particularly at this time of year. And our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, watching these images with me here from the desk in New York. And Brian, sadly, those descriptions we have heard over and over again now of the horror when one of these vehicles plows into the crowd. And as you know, this has been a call to action by ISIS to now, if you don't have knives or guns, to use your vehicle as a weapon.
That's exactly right, David. We were here just last year on Bastille Day when a truck ran through the crowd outside Nice, killing 86 people, and then the Christmas markets in Berlin, and then the 2 attacks on the different bridges in London again and again. He says all the trademarks of ISIS. There's been no claim of responsibility at this point, but we've just seen, in fact, just last month, ISIS posted online a set of specifications for its followers about what kind of trucks to use, make sure they have double wheels, what kind of speed to use, and depict pedestrian congested streets and large festivals.
People watching this at home here in the U.S. are going to fear that this could happen at some point here in the United States, and we have seen the stepped-up security. Both in Times Square, there has always been a heavy police presence, perhaps more now than ever, but in locations across this country, and we have reported on this, the difficulty in preparing for a situation like this.
That's right, David. These are really the ultimate in soft targets. People just strolling about, parents pushing children, people going shopping. In Times Square now, they have erected cement barriers which prevent vehicles from coming off the side streets onto the large pedestrian area at Times Square here in New York, much like we saw in Barcelona.
And it helped in recent months when there was a car in Times Square.
In fact, no police officer is going to be able to stop on his own a speeding truck. That's why these cement barriers now, we're going to see a lot more of them.
Particularly, Terry Moran, when you learned today that that van could have been traveling at speeds of 50 miles per hour into that crowd. Our chief foreign correspondent joining us now, and you've reported so often, Terry, on the multiple scenes that we've seen unfold in Europe, similar to this one.
It's horrific, David, and the targets are always similar. High-profile, crowded targets where people from all over the world will come for tourism and business. And here on a beautiful summer evening in one of the world's great tourist destinations in the heart of the city is the target for this attack. And that speed guaranteeing mayhem and carnage, as we are seeing on social media, at just an appalling level. I should say that the royal household of Spain, King Philippe and Queen Letizia, have put out a statement capturing the feeling that you get after each one of these. The king, queen, and the royal household saying they are assassins, simply criminals who will not terrorize us. All of Spain is Barcelona. Las Ramblas will be everyone's. It is being replayed now in Barcelona, a dastardly attack, always in this kind of place, not out in the hinterlands, not in some defenseless small town. They want the maximum number of victims and the maximum global attention.
Terry, our thanks to you again, and I want to bring in Cecilia Vega, our senior White House correspondent, because, Cecilia, we had heard from the First Lady. Now we have heard in a tweet from President Trump.
Yes, David, and the president is at his Bedminster Golf Club not too far away from where we are here in New Jersey. So he tweeted within the hour. Let me read it to you. He says, the United States condemns the terror attack in Barcelona, Spain, and will do whatever is necessary to help. Be tough and strong. We loved you. We love you. We know the president has been briefed. Traveling here with him is his Chief of Staff, John Kelly. Chief of Staff Kelly is keeping the president abreast of all of the latest. Among the items on the president's agenda today, he had lunch in Bedminster with Florida Governor Rick Scott, and we are told that they did discuss the attack in Barcelona. David, we also expect to hear not too long from now from the vice president, who is traveling abroad in Panama right now. He's expected to address this, but perhaps the strongest words so far have come from Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, who spoke not long ago at the State Department, David, and he did not mince words. He says, we are resolved to find you and bring you to justice of those terrorists around the world. He says that the United States stands ready to assist with those authorities in Barcelona.
You're absolutely right, Cecilia. Rex Tillerson saying our condolences, and as you mentioned, that the U.S. stands ready to help with law enforcement in Spain if needed. Cecilia, our thanks to you as well, and to bring our viewers up to date as we continue to follow the deadly terror attack in Barcelona playing out today. We now know 13 dead, at least 50 people injured. There are some reports that number is well past 60. We will continue to follow that. There is one arrest to report at this hour. They have not named the person, but the person you're looking at right there, we have in fact confirmed is the person who rented the white van that you saw. Caused such destruction, the van that was damaged from the front end after all of this. Reports of people trapped underneath as it really mowed them down in that district. Driss Al-Kubir is the name we've confirmed. That's the man who rented the van. Of course, authorities have not confirmed whether or not he's the person under arrest tonight. There were early reports of a possible hostage situation right off Las Ramblas. Those reports have been knocked down by authorities right there in Spain at this hour. But they do continue to search the side streets. What we don't know at this early time is whether or not there were a number of people involved in this attack. Brian Ross and his team will continue to follow that throughout the afternoon. I'm David Muir. We will have team coverage coming up on World News Tonight. Until then, abcnews.com throughout the afternoon. Good day.
This has been a special report from ABC News.